Hi, how are you doing today? So, I'm coming up on 10 years of sobriety, and with that, it becomes an emotional time for myself. So, I felt like I just wanted to shoot a little video talking about my experiences, what I've been going through. Um, Maybe something I say can help someone else. Sometimes some of my friends will talk to me and they might be going through some things, and then there's some similar themes that come up, and so I just like wanted to jot some notes down because I see that like people sometimes go through similar things. It's like an emotionally charged time of, I mean, with 10 years, it feels like more than usual. Some years are more, some years are less. But coming up on 10 years, it's like, okay, let me reflect, see where I've come from, maybe do a little more goal setting, see where I'm going. You know, where can I make positive changes, even more so, to continue to work towards this life, being more sober. Um, so one of the things I noticed coming up in topics when I talk to people, and something I experienced, obviously when people drink or use drugs, a lot of times they think of like negative outcomes, or I'm going through this, or I had some sort of loss, or I lost my job, or my career is trash, I'm not making money, so let me drink and use drugs and have fun. And that's something that I went through, and I can totally relate to that. Um, but when I decided to get sober, I noticed something else was happening that kind of kept me from being sober, and it took time, and it was more of the positive things that would sabotage me. Um, when I would put streaks together of, 1 week, 2 week, or 3 weeks of not drinking, not using, and like would start to gain momentum, something would happen where like maybe I made a little money, or I paid off some debt, or it was someone's birthday, and I would use that as an excuse to drink or use. And then from there, that's when I would like hit that cycle again, and I would fall right back into it, and that can be a trap door. In life, sometimes the positive things are the things that trigger you to fall back down, and you have to be like on guard for that. It's like not necessarily the negative things, which of course that's obvious. You're like, I'm depressed, like let me use. But then instead you could be like, oh, it's someone's birthday, I'm gonna get wasted, and then you end up spending a bunch of money you didn't want to spend, and you're like, oh damn, I'm back to where I was. It's like, and so those things, I feel like that's a common theme I'm seeing with people, where it's like it's not always negative things, it's the positive things, so you have to be aware of that. Keeping a positive attitude and setting goals are very important. When I reflect back on what's one of those things that you look and you say, outside of saying like I need help, like I can't do this alone, like which is one of the most important things. What's something that's like a mindset shift that like can really take you to the next level in life? And one of those things I think is gratitude, where when you focus on gratitude, and I noticed I would do a gratitude list daily every morning, and it was nothing crazy. It was like three things I'm grateful for. And the positivity that came from that is really powerful, because it's a slight shift in your mindset, where you might be striving or yearning for things you don't have, and instead you're like kind of more focused on things you do have. And it could be really simple things, where I'd be like good health, I'm grateful for having good health, I'm grateful for sobriety, or to be sober today. Or maybe it's your faith, or your spirituality, or your meditation practice, where you're saying, hey, I was able to meditate for 5 minutes, and I'm grateful for that. And those small shifts go so far, and they can't be taken for granted, in how much that those things can really make a difference. And another thing is like working where you're at right now, to be like, um, you can be reborn daily. You can start from where you are. You can just say one day, you know, I don't like the trajectory of my life and I want to start over. And you can literally do that every day. You can just be like, you know what, today I'm gonna really give it an honest effort, and I'm gonna, you know, it could be a small thing. I'm not gonna eat 10 Big Macs today, or whatever. Or I'm not gonna cut out the soda. Or I'm not gonna fucking sniff an 8 ball. You know, and those little things go far. And there's this like thing in life where you can't be scared to start over. You can literally start where you're at. And I think that's like one of the things in sobriety you learn. You can be like, you know what, today I am gonna just start where I'm at, and I'm gonna set small, achievable goals. You know, I'm not gonna get drunk or high today, and then you can just build off that, and then you could take the good health thing, and it's like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna walk 3,000 steps in the sun. I'm gonna like one thing I've been doing is like I've been trying to do more cardio outside. Yeah, going to the gym is great, but I'm like, okay, let me get this run outside. Let me take that run to the next level. From there, I'm like, yo, let me hit some steps. I hit some steps last week. You know, I did it, and you know, going up the first flight of steps, my legs locked up. I was like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna get too far on this. Ended up hitting the goal, whatever. I couldn't walk for 4 days. After I finish this, I'm gonna go hit those steps. I did 10 last time. I'm gonna see if I can do 11. And that's one of those things. I'm grateful for the effort. Like, let me put some effort in. Like, that's part of my gratitude list. Like, let me see if I can really hit an honest effort on these things I set goals for. And from there, you can have 10 years of sobriety. You know, you can be like, and I'm coming up on the 10 years, and I'm like, all right, like, can I continue to make this progress? You know, if say I want to burn some body fat, it's like, all right, like, you're gonna have to eat healthier, eat less. You're gonna have to make healthier decisions. You know, you're doing the exercise. Okay, let's make the cooking fun, or let's do these things, and to help achieve those goals. And so, don't let other people like limit your greatness or define your potential. Like, you can do that for yourself. You can be like, you know, today I'll hit the steps. Today I'll walk outside, you know, and I'll work towards being healthier.